Hey, what's up, Crown Nation? Welcome to Rock the Crown. Today we are talking about living internationally, a lifestyle. And I know you are so excited to join us today. And of course, we have our beautiful guest host, Dia, with us. And of course, my queen, Nefertari, holding it down. We're going to be talking to you about international living. So listen up, take notes, and get ready to buy those tickets. Okay? All right. Dia, you want to share with the audience? I'm sure people have been missing you. So go ahead and get your shout outs out and all that good stuff.
Hey, Crown Nation. So it's so good to be back here at season 5 with Rock the Crown. I have been moving about, here and also working. New grandbabies I have, so I've dedicated a lot of time to spend with them. And just really excited about this new year, 2022. Really, really excited about travel, excited about business, excited about, just new opportunities that are here. And I hope that you too have some things going on in your life that you're excited about. So this episode, we are going to talk about one of my most favorite things to do, and that's travel. And this episode, we're going to talk about extended travel, which means that, you're actually going and you're living abroad, which is something a lot of us think about doing, dream about doing. And with the World Wide Web, it has just made it more possible for more people to do so. More people have jobs where they're working remotely. And then they just, are able to kind of work anywhere, in the world. And a couple of my sisters here on the screen actually have that wonderful opportunity to be able to do that. So when the opportunity presents itself, and it's something you want to do, why not? Why not do it? Right, Naima?
Yeah, why not? Shoot, let's just jump right into it. I know Ortez always teases me about telling me I'm going to go to some country and stay for 2 months. I'm like, are you giving me permission? Because if you do, brother, I'm going, right? But of course, we know that as we're thinking about living internationally, there are reasons why people choose to go abroad. And studies have shown that in 2019 through 2020, hundreds of thousands of people have relocated, not just internationally, but some people also came to America. And then even within the United States, people moved. A lot of people from California and New York have moved to southern states because the lifestyle is less economically. So you get $1 million in California. It used to be a 2-bedroom, 1-bath house. But when you come to Atlanta or Texas or all of these other places, you literally are living like a millionaire, right? So that $400,000
more lavish life,
right? It turns into something totally different. But also, when you begin to take that money outside of the United States, that dollar, even though we've had some economic times, still holds weight in some countries. And so really you could find yourself really living a lavish lifestyle internationally.
so one of the things about going overseas is it kind of like changes your lifestyle when you get a little taste of this over here, a little taste of that over there, and then when you come back home, it's kind of like, if you used to traveling a lot, I haven't had a whole lot of travel myself, but just being able to see the world, like, in different places, it just really kind of opens your mind up to much greater things, and you just can't wait to get moving again into the, like, where's the next place I'm going, and then you start planning 2-3 trips a year, because you're like, after a while you start itching. It's like, it's time to go.
Right.
So it definitely can be life changing. It's like, I think we talked about it before. There are some people who really haven't never even left the state that they've lived in. Right. And there's so much more things to see in the world, so definitely, we're going to talk about some things and reasons to be able to move abroad. I know you talked about New York, but also living out of the country, so let's get into that. Character building. Character building is one of the things that is very helpful for when you're traveling. So certainly being able to just decide, even if you decide to pick up and move and go somewhere else, like just having a new lifestyle. Sometimes people just want a fresh start, and they're just like, I'm just going to move here and I don't even know anybody, or I just want a new life and just meet new people and just kind of go from there. So it's like some people are actually like doing that kind of thing. And just being able to move away from the old stuff, wash it on off,
Mhm.
And I think that's good for even if you're traveling, and not necessarily moving completely, but kind of like Dia mentioned earlier, just being able to have that residence over here and be able to go over there at the same time. And some people like to do that even with the change of the season.
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
when they know when it's cold where they might normally live, then they're traveling when it's, because it may be warm still in that other area. And that's really another good idea.
Mhm. Yep, definitely. It's so like, Allah says that He made the earth spacious for us.
Mhm.
So there's no reason to be stuck in one area. There's absolutely no reason, even if it's just you traveling to see different places. And, on the topic of character building, I also, want to mention that it's good that you travel with your children
Mhm.
because it really, really, really helps to expand their minds, helps to open their minds to new things. And it also makes them a bit more independent because, when you travel, you're on the plane and you tell even your 5-year-old, hey, you're responsible for your bag.
Mhm.
Where's your bag? Because mommy's got her bags and these bags. So it really helps your children to build character and it helps them to become more independent. You
Mhm.
find that more children who are well traveled, they become a little bit more independent and just are more productive, in a lot of ways. So that travel is really, really good for the young people too.
They get to
Yeah.
mature a little faster, and they really think they cute too when they got their little luggage, their little matching set, with
Yes.
their sunglasses on. It's
Little
like, I'm ready
characters on
to
there sometimes. Yeah, they're ready to go.
And I know I was having a conversation with someone the other day, and they were just talking about how here in America, like children sometimes are like 13, 14, and then they're like complaining, or they're like, I have to babysit. What? I don't know how. And we're like, there's children in other countries, 6 years old, watching other kids cooking, doing all of these very independent things. And sometimes when you take your children to other countries, they can see how empowering that can be to be their own independent self, even at an early age. And so, we still, of course, do a lot of coddling here, but hopefully, as people take their children out of the country and teach them, and they'll begin to learn more self-reliance and things like that. I know that
Mhm.
Katrina has a, what is it, Mocha Travel. She really has different segments of travel where she has girlfriend travel, bae travel, and then your children travel, and then of course family travel.
Mm.
But she's a big proponent, Katrina Morrison. She's a big proponent on taking your children out of the country, basically not just for character building, but to educate them. So even if you're doing homeschool, thinking about actually turning that exercise um, of Africa into an actual exercise where you're taking them to the continent and showing
Yes.
them what that activity can do. So it's so many different things that you can do with taking your children. I know that we all have, our children are older, and so we didn't
Mhm.
really have the opportunity and or knowledge to take them when they were younger. We did maybe, inside the United States, but not really understanding how important it was internationally, because we weren't taught that until we actually had that experience. So hopefully, as our children are getting older, we're encouraging them, even as young people under the age of 30, to still travel. And then hopefully their children will be able to travel when they're young. So we'll see how that happens. How
Well, I was gonna say, we need to get those passports, so that you can be able to travel even for the children. Now I'm in a little bit different boat. I got my older stack, and then I got one that just turned 8 today. So I would love that
Happy birthday,
opportunity.
Oh, happy birthday,
Mommy!
Happy
Mohammed.
birthday. And so just being able to travel with him. And it's funny that you say that, because even when I had him, being 43 years old, having another child, I was already in my mind thinking this was gonna be different. I was like, because I'm gonna be traveling like all over the place,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
he's just gonna go with me.
Mhm.
Right,
So I
right.
already had that mindset of just being able to do that. But I like how you tie that into homeschooling. Like,
Mhm.
because even when thinking about education, I said it's going to be non-traditional, just being able to move. And that's an excellent idea, for those people who are homeschooling, really tying in, different parts around the world. And, we do that, kind of do that anyway, but being able to actually take them there, put their hands in the soil and say, I was here, that would be really great.
And money exchange, learning about money exchange.
Mm-hmm.
And then another way that, of course, traveling abroad also can help is by enhancing your career.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times, so there are some careers here in America that are very common, right? You'll see that the growth is maybe, it's not very high, maybe 5%. But when you go to other countries, these careers are actually in high demand. And they really, really appreciate the type of perspective that you bring, the American, the Western perspective that you can bring, to their countries. So a lot of times you go out and you'll find that you can actually get a job where you are, able to kind of advance your career a little more so than you would be here. A lot of countries are looking for the talent that we have here in America. And so it's really good, of course, to do your research, research whatever career you have or you're wanting to get into, and then see which countries, are, have those careers in high demand and are willing to pay, a lot of times pay you a really good salary in addition to sometimes even paying your housing or paying, travel expenses. They'll kind of do that for you. So you'll find that they kind of make it easy for American talent and American expats to come to their country to live and work. So, it's definitely good to look out for that kind of thing.
And there were some actual programs that they started in 2020 that some countries will actually pay people to come and live in small towns in European countries. And those small towns will actually pay those people $38,000, $40,000, $50,000 a year to come live, establish a business in that town, and make a commitment, a 3-year commitment to live there. So those programs you can definitely look up online. Again, it's a lot of European countries that are doing that, but we definitely want to make sure that if we see this opportunity, we share it even with some of the ambassadors in African countries, because maybe they have some programs that we can write out too. But something else that will the living the international lifestyle will be the culture shock. The culture shock that you have when you go and live internationally. Now, we know here in America, everything is about rat race. Run, rush. Everything is on time. If you're not on time, how dare you? Just everything is just stress, right? And I always tease my friend Jamila, of course, who lives in Morocco. I'm like, what are you doing? Nothing today? Like, she's like, yep, I'm doing nothing today. I'm like, how many teas did you drink? How many siestas did you, take? Because again, in other countries, they're just chill. Like every work still gets done, but it is not like the rat race here. And so a lot of countries have where everybody takes an afternoon nap. They don't do that here in America unless you have incorporated that into your own lifestyle. But there are actually workplaces. Okay, that's the sooner, right? There are workplaces that actually incorporate, people taking a nap at work. Only in Asian countries, also European countries, and in African countries. So that would be a culture shock, and also meeting new people. Just like I know I was talking to a friend of mine, and she was just saying that when she went to Africa, the first time that she met somebody, they kissed her on the mouth. And she was like, whoa, hold on, wait, what's happening? What is this, And of course, here in America, everything's sexualized. So nobody was thinking of it like in a negative way. It's just like, oh, you are my sister. You are African. I'm African. You're African American, but you are my sister. I'm here to greet you. And so we kind of have to really understand where culture is just like our lifestyle, right? And not something that we have to kind of create through this whole mess of whatever is happening. And even if we do create it, that's okay. But understanding that other cultures will help you. And then, of course, that leads to eating. Culture is about eating too, right? Everybody wants to go to another country, eat some good food. And sometimes I tease Jamila about nobody wants to eat tagine every day, right? Of course, tagine is a traditional dish in Morocco, but the selection of food is not as vast as other countries, as in maybe Mexico or some of the Caribbean type areas where they have more selection. But just kind of thinking about what's going to happen when you move to that country and you can't get those fries or those wings, sweet and spicy wings, right? What's going to happen with you?
And it's really good to, of course, before you even consider moving to a country, you definitely want to visit there, take an extended stay there. I would say at least 1 month to 2 months before you actually move to a country, because visiting is one thing, it's
Right.
exciting to, yeah, it's exciting to try out a new culture. It's exciting to try, new food. But once you've been there for a month or two and then you actually get acclimated to the daily life, then you can see, oh, okay, I can do this, or you know what, I cannot do this. So it's very, very important that you do that. That's some of the steps that I took, in trying to decide which country I wanted to move to, because I do plan to live outside of the US. And so I've taken several trips to this particular country, which is Ghana, which is one of my favorite countries. It's a great, Ghana is a great entryway to Africa. Because their official language is English. So most people there speak English, and it's very easy to communicate with people. It's it's more modern than a lot of other African countries. And I also really love that, there's a large population of Muslims. And the Muslims there are, the whole, country kind of respects the Muslims. Like, they have, when it's time for the Eid, they'll have like special sales, and it's on TV. And so it's just really great to see how the culture really is accepting and embracing, like actually I'll say Islam has impacted the culture of Ghana to where it's embedded in the culture. So that's definitely one thing. So when I went there, I stayed for like 2 months to really be able to settle myself in and, try to not feel so much like a traveler, and see if this was something that I could do, on an everyday basis. I love the food there, not all of it, but there are a lot of dishes that I love. And I'm a simple person, so I could eat, the same, like 3 or 4 times, a week. I could eat the same thing. So variety, even though I love variety, but everything there, usually when you go to a different country, it may take a while, but you will find whatever it is that you're missing from home. Even if you have to ship it from home, sometimes you have to go through great lengths, to get those comforts of home, but you eventually will, get, whatever it is that you're missing or needing from home.
So how about the spices, Daya? How would you say it differs from here? As far as, and do you think your taste buds have changed any to
I
where?
know when I went there and I started to eat the food there, they cook with a lot of tomato. Like, tomato is like the base of most of the dishes that they have, and they cook with a lot of fish. And so I found myself, like, when I came back, I started trying to cook a lot of their dishes because I was just missing. I was like, I really enjoyed it. Let me try to see if I could make this. And I did. I made a few of the dishes, and the children, they loved it. I made a couple of things for them. So, yeah, I found myself, coming back here and kind of recreating, those dishes. And then in Ghana, they were colonized by the British.
Right.
So a lot of them in the morning, they actually have tea. They have tea and bread, So a lot of them, that's their morning breakfast is tea and then omelet, and then bread. There's also a porridge that a lot of the natives have, but I was kind of sticking with the tea and the bread and the omelet. So I came home here too. Lipton is their tea of choice, and we have Lipton here. So when I came back, I was on my Lipton in the morning.
I love it.
My omelet. So
So
yeah,
you sound like you got your tea corner set up now.
yes, I sure do.
your
Yeah,
daily pour.
that is a must. Yes. So
That's
yeah, so
awesome.
you definitely do. Those are some of the things that we enjoy
I
going
think
to other
I
countries.
think that with a lot of the different cultures, there's a lot of difference between the food, all around. But with a
Mhm.
lot of cultures from different countries, tea is like one of those base things that they
Yeah.
really do take the time for that, whether it's in the morning or, having their afternoon tea or just their chill time in the evening. And it's just something that I kind of took notice of because I've never really been big on tea drinking and
Mhm.
coffee and all of that. And I think it might be the preparing part. If
Mhm.
somebody like made me tea, yeah, sure, I'll have it. I have some really good tea. I went to a friend's house the other week, and the tea was like, I forget what it was, but she had it shipped from somewhere, and you didn't even need to add anything to it.
Mm.
Yeah. Hmm.
But definitely, when you talked about the tea over there, I could see you
Yeah,
incorporating that here. If you didn't drink tea as
right,
much, probably doing it a
right.
little bit more.
Mhm, mhm.
And for
Yeah.
some reason, sometimes it's easier to kind of acclimate to those different types of lifestyles when you're out of the country for some reason. I know even this past December, Dai and I, when we were in Mexico, I made this drink, right? And literally, we had this drink every single day while we were there. We're like, oh, when we get back, we're gonna make this drink. And I have to say, I haven't made it since I gotten back.
Now,
But
what was it? What was it?
it was pineapple and orange juice together.
Oh,
Oh,
yes.
yeah. I
Oh my
love
god,
that.
it
I've
was
had that.
every single day we were there. We
Mhm.
drank that, and we were just like, "Oh, this is like our morning thing." And then, of course, gotta get we know we
And it
make
was good. It
breakfast.
was fresh.
Oh,
Tasted different
so
than what we
fresh.
get here.
Yeah,
Really
totally
good.
different, totally different. And that's
Fresh
also
orange
something else.
juice.
Yeah, the
Mhm.
freshness over in other countries versus, here in America,
Mhm.
all the pasteurization and stuff like that. It's totally different. And so sometimes, you know, yeah, you're gonna feel the difference between, hey, I can make pasta in Italy, but then when
Mhm,
you come home, it's not the same at all. And so,
mhm.
like, even when we went to Italy, it's kind of like, yeah, this isn't like pizza like we know in America, right? So I didn't see any pizza that had red sauce on it. I saw pizza that had potatoes and cheese, and I mean, I was just, it was just different stuff, and I was just like, oh, okay,
Interesting.
this
That
is
sounds really interesting.
oh yeah, but it
When
was
you
really really good though.
talking about the freshness of something, even with the raw meat, a lot of times they slaughter the animal like the day of. You might see it walking around, and
Oh
so
yeah,
I've heard some people when they travel just getting used to that, just that fresh meat, especially red meat. Like you can really, really taste the difference in that too.
yeah. Like
Mhm.
when we went to Senegal and we were getting all happy about the goat living underneath the house. And like, every day we come in and out. Oh, it's the goat. Hey, goat. Assalamu alaikum, right? And then a couple of days had passed, and then I was like, I wasn't hearing the goat. And then, of course, that evening we were eating. I don't eat meat, but we were in another country, so I was like, is a goat's gonna be okay, right? And I didn't realize we were having goat, but I was like, man, this is so good. What is this? And they were like, this is Sammy, and I was like, Sammy who? And they were like, Sammy, the goat. And I was like,
Oh
we're eating
no.
Sammy tonight. But that's the relationship that they build with the animal in order to like slaughter it and have a care. So, the care that they take when they kill the animal is totally different than, you just slaughtering, 2,000 chickens in a machine.
Mhm.
So yeah,
Mhm.
it's totally, totally different.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So another one of our things that you will be able to have wonderful experience with traveling abroad is, it can be very rewarding in a way where, we just kind of talked about work. When you're working here, a lot of times you can find jobs, whether, you're teaching English or, some other kind of subject. They really are looking for a lot of Americans to work on their ground. So being able to
Hmm. Hmm.
to work in an area, like Dia spoke of earlier, like you get paid pretty good, and your living is like, you don't have to come out of pocket so much for a lot of things, and so the benefits are great. I sometimes talk to people and I'm like, hey, I haven't seen you, where you been? Oh, so and so, they're working over there. I'm like, wow, they've been there for 2 years. And so just being able to have that experience, and I don't know if they actually took that same approach when you talk about going and staying there for a couple of months, or if they just looked for the job and hey, you
Mhm.
got the job and we just get on out of here and go. And they really kind of get all of that experience in one, between the people and the food and the culture, and then now you're working, you know. So, but that's one of the things that is really something good to look forward to, is just being able to have a better finances, you know, because a
Mhm.
lot of times when you talk about the currency of the money, you know, it kind of adds up a lot more than being here in the States with certain jobs.
Mhm.
And it's also rewarding, in the sense that you sometimes when you are in a location, sometimes your soul is just not, your spirit is just not sitting well in this one
Mhm.
location. And
Yeah.
so sometimes, we relocate, we migrate, because we feel that spirit is calling us elsewhere.
Mhm.
And that's, kind of how I feel, with my travels and with my intentions to live abroad, is that spirit just doesn't sit too well here, in America for me. I'm grateful to be an American. I'm grateful for, the opportunities that it presents, because being an American allows me to travel to all of these different places.
Right. Right.
With an American passport, you pretty much, it's very easy to get a visa. There's no qualification process. It's just, you're an American,
Mhm.
you're not on any kind of no fly list, hey, you're welcome. And so that's definitely something that, I urge us to not take for granted, because our African brothers and sisters are pretty much stuck where they are. Like, they don't have the option a lot of times to pick up and leave, even if it's just to travel. Like, even if they just wanted to come here to the US and just travel, see New York City, see Times Square,
Right.
they are not allowed, they're denied, so, and that's a form of oppression,
Right.
when you
Right.
are, being forced to stay in one area, one location. But so I just say that to say that that's the reward, is that you are able to, as Americans, we are able to follow our spirit and follow, where our heart, is leading us. And so that's exactly what, we should do, when we feel like, especially when you go to a place like Naeem and I have gone to Mexico like 3 or 4 times. My
Right.
spirit feels great in Mexico.
Oh
I
yeah.
love
Yeah.
I
I
love
love it too.
food. I love the people.
Mhm.
I love the beautiful landscapes. It's just beautiful. So,
Well, we almost
that.
didn't come home.
Hmm,
We
almost
almost
did.
didn't come home.
Oh, that's right. You guys extended your trip.
Yes, we did.
We were like, can
So,
we get 2 more weeks?
hey, why not? And see,
We
there's that
started looking at
freedom.
our work schedule like, I don't have to be back.
Right. They're not expecting me back for a while. So yeah, it worked out, but yeah, Mexico is nice. So that's one of those places. So, we talk about real estate a lot here on Rock the Crown. And this is one of the things that I have intentions to do, is to, these places that I love to visit, is to go ahead and invest in these places, which is
Yeah.
going to save me money on my travels. So if I
Right.
have a home here in Georgia, a home in Ghana, a home in Mexico, I'm able to go to these places, to my home that's in these places. And then in addition to me saving on the travel, I can also earn money, right? Because when I'm not there in those locations, there'll be Airbnb for me. So
Mhm.
I'll be making money. And then also when I come, I'll be able to, have my own home to stay at. So that's my intentions. And a lot of people, see the American dream as being me buying my house. Don't stop there, please. You
Mhm.
bought your first. And that's why I tell all my girlfriends, all my family, that's
Mhm.
your first house, right?
Yeah.
That's your first house, so this kind of helps you, especially in this market where it's very, very difficult to find homes. You're not having to check off all your 10 out of 10. Just take 6 out of 10, buy your first home, and then move on. Buy you a second home, buy you a vacation home. That's what, our I won't call them counterparts, but that's what our Caucasian brothers and sisters do, right? They get their first home, and then they love taking the kids out to Myrtle Beach So they buy them a home in Myrtle Beach so they can take their kids every year to Myrtle Beach, and then they can also rent it out to you all when you go and bring your kids.
That's
Exactly.
right.
It's a
Right.
formula. It's a formula that that has been done over time, and it's just time for us to catch up. Just catch
Mhm.
up to it and do it ourselves. And be successful at it, inshallah.
And
Yeah.
something else to think about is like, stop thinking that it's impossible for us to do the same things that others are doing in this world. Um, Everybody has the same capabilities, they have the same opportunities. And so we really have to lean into the opportunities that are given to us. And sometimes people are like, oh, I don't have the money to purchase a home outside of the country. Partner up with friends and family. Like,
Mhm.
everybody can own the home, right? And sometimes we have such a negative approach when it comes to thinking about, okay, five of us own this home. That's okay, because as the five of you come up together, then the more money that you make on that property, then you can pull your money
Mhm.
to the side and begin to then invest in your own properties. But remembering that no community has come up by itself, that it's always been a collective, in order for a community to establish itself and to grow. And so when we start looking at all of these other persons, races, communities that are establishing themselves and building all of these big things, it's not just one person adding money to the pot, it's several people. So even if you want to go buy a home in Mexico and it's $80,000 and each of you need 20,000, but you only need 5,000 down. When you start breaking it down, it's like, okay, you know what? This is doable. I do have $5,000 in the
Mhm.
savings account. And if you
Mhm.
don't have $5,000 in the savings account, then you fervently work to get that money in order to multiply your dollars. And then thinking about, when we talk about real estate, making sure you understand the rules of that country to buy land and or property in that specific country that you're moving to, because not all countries allow for people, just because you want to live there, that you can purchase land. I know specifically in
Mhm.
Morocco, you have to be a Moroccan citizen even to purchase land there or to buy real estate. So you gotta really, really, really read the fine print, read the rules. Even in Mexico, certain parts of Mexico, if it's too close to the water, internet, it's all of these
Mhm.
rules. So make sure you understand wherever you're going to buy land and or purchase something, you know the exact rules. It's important to make sure you have an attorney, you have friends that are there. If you don't have friends, that's what the expat communities on Facebook. There's so many different organizations across different platforms that you can become members of, so that again, hey, if I want to go live in Germany, let me see how many blacks are in Germany. Let me see if there's some organizations there that I can talk to, people that actually live there, what were their challenges and things like that.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah. Yep. Very important that it's very important that you have boots on the ground. You want to know people, especially if you're thinking about either purchasing real estate or building. You
Mhm.
want to make sure that you have people on the ground, because even like in Ghana, when you purchase your land there, they urge you to go ahead and build some type of structure, even if you just put a wall up, just one little single wall, because people sometimes will come and they'll just start to build on your land if it's sitting there for a long time. So you have
Well,
to
She
put
ain't using
something
it,
up.
we're gonna use it.
So put something up. So that is the first thing that I'll do, is build some type of wall, and I might even spray paint my name on it, like, "Hey, this is
Right.
property."
that is
You just have to know, and that's something that we wouldn't know. Like, they don't have that listed on any government website.
I was
That's
going
Right.
to
something
ask
you
that
have to
question.
know from people who live there and people who've experienced it, and know that it does happen. But it's
Right.
interesting.
So
Because they're like, she's
you better
never
not stay
here.
around too long. And you need to have, like that you said, the boots on the ground.
You
You
have
got to have your
to.
contacts and check in on a weekly basis.
Yeah, because you'll come to your land and then you'll see it's a house up or a tent up, and somebody's out there making banku, and you're like, what's really going on? So you have to be very, very cautious when you're doing it. Very.
Okay, so before we close the show out, I would love to see maybe some comments in the chat. Why would people want to move abroad? So if you want to put in the chat why you would want to move abroad and maybe even why you don't want to move abroad, put it in the chat. We'd love to bring those chats onto the screen. But while we're doing that, let's all kind of discuss why we would want to move abroad. I think Daia's kind of said something to the effect of what, Daia? Reiterate why you would want to move abroad.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, many reasons. Like I mentioned, I love traveling and I love looking and living in beautiful spaces. And so I would definitely would like to move abroad to experience, to experience new cultures,
Mhm.
be around people who are more like-minded. I think that that's an opportunity too. A lot of times we think that, we can't find our, mates in other countries, but you'll find that there are a lot of similarities, out once you break down those cultural barriers, language barriers, you'll find a lot of similarities, with the people that live abroad.
Okay, excellent. Now,
I would say for me, it would just be like the experience, being able to see different things, taste different foods. One of the places that I always say I want to go to is Dubai. It's like I hear it's so beautiful, and then just the fashions and all of that. So, of course, Paris. So, I think for me, it would just be kind of like just having the experience. I can do 2, 3 weeks here and there. And I know a lot of times for travel, when you talk about the rat race, so to speak, and
yeah,
being really busy with family and how your life is. So sometimes it's just about being able to just, break away. And so I think for a lot of traveling for me, sometimes just make your mind up and just do it. So, you just look up and years have gone by and I've never been here, never been there. I had a passport for 10 years. My first 10 years, I'd only gone to one place.
right,
So
right.
after I renewed it, I've only gone to one place so far, but it's still pretty new. So I plan to use my passport
Mhm.
and to really kind of get out. And so, I don't know about the moving thing, but there is some times where I feel like, certain things happening in your life, and you're like, what's really keeping me here? Like, a lot of times for me, I might think of my mom, or my family, and it's like, okay,
Mhm.
well, if I go somewhere, I won't go too long or too far, but there's a part of me that just kind of want to get up and go. Just that change of scenery and
Yeah.
just a feeling or something like that. You said it's some kind of thing in you. And I know one of the places I definitely want to go to is Africa.
Mhm.
Being able to nail down what part of Africa.
Mhm.
I hadn't totally done that, but that's one of the things my father always wanted to do too, was to travel to
Mhm.
Africa. So I always kind of saw myself being able to go with him. Now that he's not here, it's still a place that I've kind of got in me. Like, and I just feel like every African American should like take
Oh,
that chance anyway.
You
Like,
oh,
must.
so I'm
Yeah.
really excited about being able to do that.
Mhm.
And sometimes we hear about little things that might scare you, whether it's bug bites or, whatever it is, thinking about malaria
Mhm.
and like, okay, what, it's like, but there's so many pretty things over there.
yes.
There's this show I saw, like a preview. I don't know if it was on Netflix or whatever, but it was like Africa. It's like these young people, and they're like, and do you know what I'm talking about? Because sometimes you do know what I'm talking about. I
Right.
can't think of the name of it. But I was so surprised to see like they live this such lavish life, and
Oh,
the way
yeah.
they dressed and the cars
Mhm.
they drove. And in my mind, like I know it's some really nice things over there, but I was like, I've never seen this before,
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
And so, but just being able to go and see certain things, it's
Oh, yeah.
like I'm excited to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that sounds like a trip we need to plan, right?
Mhm.
And 'cause, I love to plan trips. So one reason I would love to move abroad is number one, I have always had a yearning to travel, and
Mhm.
that's why I do it extensively. It it's soothing to my soul. I love to be out of the country. I also love to just kind of like meet people. I love the experience, and then just kind of thinking about, in traveling, just self development. I love the self development portion of it. There's something, there's a commercial where the guy is kind of talking about, he's like, we ask ourselves, are people going to ask themselves, man, are they going to ask themselves, man, I regret that I never bought this? Or are they going to ask themselves, I regret I never went and visited this place?
Mm.
And
Mhm.
Mhm.
so I don't want to regret that I haven't visited any of the places that I want to visit. And I want to be able to, sometimes like you're looking at a commercial and you're like, oh, I've been there, like that. You just
Mhm.
want to be able to say that you've soaked up as much of the earth as possible. And that
Mhm.
in soaking up the earth and the experiences and the people, that you're also able to, in something that I want to do, is to offer social services and just social service internationally, right? And
Mhm.
really focusing on, I know that I work, all that good stuff, but I really want to also be able to offer travel to people, because
That's what I was gonna
travel
say.
is such
Yes.
a sunnah for us as Muslims. It is the way. And sometimes, again, people don't think that they are able to travel, but being able to show them, no, you can travel. So, of course,
Mhm.
that's why I've taken women to Morocco every year for the last 5 years, besides the last 2 years, of course. Anyway, trying to get back in 2023, taking women back to Morocco and just allowing for them to experience. And what we've done with these trips, taking these women to Morocco, is that we've really created a holistic and spiritual type of trip. Not that it's just like all religious, but it's a very independent spiritual experience that everybody that comes with us has had. And so I want to continue to do that. Continue to allow people, hey, where you want to go? I want to be able to help people travel to anywhere in the world, and hopefully I'll be able to serve that in my, I'm called the decade queen. So my next decade coming up, which is in about 4 years, my next decade of something, hopefully I'll be able to offer people that. Mhm.
One, with the travel thing you're talking about, I was also thinking like sometimes how we buy people gifts for whatever it is. One of the
Mhm.
gifts that you can really give is like that experience of traveling.
Oh yeah.
You can buy the car, you can buy the, smaller little things, but if you give someone like a trip, it's like something they always keep with
Yes.
them in their memory. So we can maybe think about that.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, we don't have any comments. That's okay, y'all. I know y'all gonna comment after the show because I see these comments after the show. But go ahead and say, tell us why you would move abroad if you want to. And we know that we've also have people in the community who've actually moved abroad, and not just during COVID-19, but people who've actually gone way to the other side of the earth, established and are establishing whole communities in different parts of the world. So just really think about expanding your vision. I know that there's some people who are like, hey, I've lived internationally in 5 different countries. Just do it all up. Do it all up. Okay. So again, we want to thank Daia for coming back on the show with us today, talking about living internationally as a lifestyle. But next week, we have our first book club. So we were telling you all that we have this book club going on every single month. So next week, we'll be talking about You Can Be the Happiest Woman in the World. If you haven't gotten your book, definitely make sure that you search that up. Dr. I believe Kia, don't quote me on it. But yeah, we want to make sure that you get that book so we can discuss it next week. And then, of course, we'll be posting that on our social media. Please be looking out for that. And then, as we also get ready to come into Ramadan, we want to make sure that you all still stay tuned, because we are going to be talking about some spiritually grounded topics, as well as some lifestyle topics that we think are going to be very, very important during your Ramadan ascension, as we would like to say. So
Mhm.
again, remember to follow us on Facebook, uh, subscribe to us on YouTube, and also follow us on Instagram. And so until next week, Crown Nation, we hope to see you. Peace out.
Assalamu alaikum.
Peace out.